So one of the recipes we're going to start with tonight is this wonderful cheesy chicken, which is fantastic because it's not fried. It's a wonderful alternative. I won't say it's completely healthy, but I'll say it's healthier than the fried version. We also have the blackened garlic potatoes, which is a fantastic side dish for the chicken, and many other things. And we also have the garlic spinach, which is frankly wonderful with anything. So it's a well-balanced trio of delight, baby. So we're going to start with the garlic, we're going to move into the potatoes, and then we're going to go into the chicken. And again, this is the first segment for the Whole Quilter Healthy Eating Program, because it's very important that as busy quilters, you make sure that you can feed your family affordably and yet healthy. So let's get started. One of the ways that I like to chop garlic, and I find it a little bit easier, is to loosen the skin before you even start to cut them. I just lay them on the cutting board, put my flat part of my knife there, hit it a few times, move it on, do all of the garlic cloves that I think I'm going to need for that meal, and I'm just going to go back and peel off the skin. Okay, so now if I want to make my mix of crackers or potato chips or whatever I'm going to actually roll my chicken in a little easier, if you don't have a food processor, I just use a baggie and I seal the baggie. And I use a gallon size, just makes it easier and it gives it a little bit of room. Before I use the rolling pin, I crush it up with my hands just to kind of start it. And then you just go over with the rolling pin. And you end up with this wonderful base to dip your chicken in. For our garlic spinach, we start off with some spinach. I'm using baby spinach right now. And you want to have a nice amount because remember, as you cook it, it's going to cook down. I also have fresh garlic, and I also have Frank's Red Hot, and it's the original. I really like this for the spinach. It adds a nice little tang. It gives it a little bit of fullness without a hot spice, as a lot of the pepper sauces will give it. So let's head over to the pan. Okay, so I'm going to start with a nice amount of olive oil in there, and I'm going to get it hot, but not deep fry hot. I want to get it just before then. I'm going to throw in about 1/8 of a cup of garlic, just because I'm making so much spinach. Now I'm just going to cook that for a little bit, and I'm going to start browning and sauteing the garlic so that oil has a little bit of the flavor. So probably for about 2 minutes. Because one of the things I want to get when I do this is I want to have that nice crunch when you bite into the garlic. And then also, once you get the bite of garlic, then you'll have a little bit of the flavor from the Frank's red sauce. And right in that oil, I'm going to put a little bit of that Frank's. Stir it up. Let it cook for about a half a minute more. Now the garlic and the hot sauce has been cooking in the oil, so it's got a really nice flavor. Now I'm going to turn the heat down to just below medium. I'm going to take my spinach and just start adding. And what I find is I'm probably going to fill this pot, and then it's going to take about 3 minutes to cook down. I can stir it again and add more spinach as I go. Now remember, you can do this with kale if you prefer kale. Collards greens work just fine. A little different flavor, a little bit more bitter, I think, with the collards or the kales. But the spinach is going to give you a nice mellow flavor when you want a nice mellow flavor. Okay, I've got all the spinach in there that'll fit. I'm going to go next to the spinach. I'm just going to stir that just a little bit. Now we have it just below medium heat. I'm going to go ahead and turn it down to low and let it cook for about 5 minutes. As you can see, just a few minutes that spinach has cooked down. And so I'm going to stir it a little bit more, and then I'm going to add again to fill the pot. So my first batch of spinach that I used, it was approximately 20 ounces, 24 ounces, and now I'm adding another 12 ounces of spinach. And I will probably do that one more time to have a total of about 48 ounces of spinach for, like I said, an eighth cup of garlic. Now, I like a lot of garlic, so I'm going to add just a little bit of garlic powder to the top, since we've added some more of the spinach. And I'm going to add just a couple more splashes of the red hot sauce, and I'm going to cover it and move on to the next part of my meal. Okay, for our blackened garlic potatoes, we're going to start with potatoes. I like to use the small whites, and actually, if you look in the store, you're going to find on the discount shelf a lot of times these, and that's when I typically will buy them. So I have about 3 bags of the small white potatoes, and I have some garlic. I boiled them, peeled them first, obviously, and then I sliced them thin. So make as much as you think you're going to do, and since we're going to make lunches for the freezer with this, I went ahead and made all that I had. So now we're going to head over to the stove, and we're going to start this. I've got the olive oil nice and warm. I'm going to throw in the garlic, about half, because I'm going to end up doing about 2 batches of these potatoes. So I'm going to split it in half. A little bit of garlic powder. You can use garlic salt if you want. I try to stay away from too much sodium. Let that simmer for a minute. You're going to stir the garlic, and you're just getting that oil nice and garlicky. I don't know about you, but you can't really do too much garlic with me. And if you don't like garlic, don't use garlic. You can just do the blackened potatoes without the garlic. We have sauteed our garlic. I'm going to add now about half of the potatoes. I go right into the middle of the pan, spread it around. Now I'm not going to touch these for about 4 or 5 minutes, but I am going to check them to make sure that there's still olive oil in the bottom of the pan. If I have to add a little olive oil, I will go ahead and do that. Now before I cover the pan, I'm going to put a little bit of sea salt on there. Cover the pan. I'm going to turn it down to about medium. Now you're going to want to keep a close eye on this. Obviously you've got oil, you've got potatoes, you've got garlic. We don't want to have any fire, so just keep a nice close eye on that as it cooks. Check it every minute to 2 minutes. The potatoes have cooked now for a while, and as you can see, the garlic is blacking right up. I'm going to turn them. And again, you can make these as dark or light as you want. Everybody's a little bit different how dark they like to do their potatoes or their garlic. So I'm going to let that go just a little bit more, and then I'm going to do the second batch. When I take them out of this pan, I'm just going to go ahead and put them on a piece of parchment paper on a plate, just to kind of drain some of the excess oil out of them, so they stay nice and crispy until I'm ready for the meal. So we're going to let that cook a little bit more, maybe about 5 more minutes. Okay, we're ready to do the cheesy chicken. Now, what I have prepared so far is boneless, skinless chicken breast, and I have marinated them in an Italian dressing with a sesame shiitake mushroom dressing. I've done that for years, and it tastes fantastic. Now, if you can only find Italian dressing, that's fine. If you would prefer no dressing, that's fine as well. It's great either way. The next thing I've done is I've created a sauce that I'm going to actually dip the chicken into, and that is part low-fat sour cream with same amount of low-fat yogurt, plain, obviously no flavors like vanilla or anything like that. It's going to give you a funny taste. And add whatever spices you want. If you like a little onion, you can add a little bit of dried onion in there. If you like basil, if you like garlic, you can add that in there. Now in this one, I just put a few dollops of the Frank's hot sauce. And that just adds a little bit of extra zing when you bite into that chicken. Now here we have our crumb base that we're actually going to roll the chicken in. And what I have in there are cheesy crackers. Also what you can do is if you have anything in your cupboards like old Triscuits, potato chips that you haven't used, and sadly enough I have to say that we had some of those from being on the road for such a long time. Then we just got home. So I put leftover potato chips, I throw them in a bag, and I roll them. I'm going to do half of my batch with just the regular potato chip and cheese cracker batch. And then the next batch that I make, the second pan, I'm actually going to add some garlic powder and some dried onion flakes to it. I have to make 2 different batches because we have different people at the studio that like it made different ways. Okay, so I'm going to start with the chicken. And I want to make sure that I mix it up just a little bit. Grab one of the chicken breasts. I'm going to roll it right in the mixture that has the sour cream and the yogurt. And I want to make sure a nice amount ends up on there. I'm going to drag it over and just set it right in the cracker mix. I'm going to come back. I'm going to grab another piece of chicken. I'm going to put that right in the sauce. Come back here. And I like to just toss the crumbs on top of the chicken because then I get to choose which side of the chicken faces up on the pan. And I put a nice amount of cracker on top, let it fall off, set it on my pan. Come back to my chicken that I put in the sauce, run it through, get a nice coat on there. It's a little messy. The taste is well worth it. Go right into the crevices of that chicken. Come back to the cracker mix, put a little bit on top. Go back to my chicken, dunk it in the sauce. Now if you want, you can use a spoon so it's less messy, but I say get right in there. We guys like to get in there when we're cooking and usually get it over with. Okay, shake off your chicken, put it on your greased pan. Move that piece of chicken over, set it on top of the cracker mix, put some on there, and you're going to continue until you fill this pan. I'm going to fill this pan, and then my next pan I'm going to add some onion flakes. Okay, now we have finished coating our chicken with the breading mixture of the crackers. Here is the non-onion, and then here is the onion with a little bit of garlic salt version. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix in the leftover cracker mix with the leftover sour cream, yogurt, whatever type of mixture that you've made. And I'm going to take that and I'm just going to mix it real light, but I want to make sure it's still a little bit crummy, so to speak. And then I'm just going to go in and put some dollops there. Now why do I do this? I like the stuff on the pan. You know, I've always liked it. It's like the first thing when my mom would pull stuff out of the oven I'd go for is the drippings. I think it's that southern upbringing that I had. So I'm going to put that in there. Now I have, again, as a reminder, preheated my oven to 375, 380. And then I'm going to put this in and I'm going to put on my 40-minute timer. I'm going to check the temperature of the inside of my chicken. I want it to be at least 170. Well, there you have it. It's time to eat. I hope you enjoyed, and we're going to have our dinner, and then the leftovers are going to go into freezer containers because life gets busy, and it's always nice to be able to pop something in and heat it up quickly for lunch or dinner for everybody. So have a great day, and take care of each other.